Have you ever watched a leader make a decision so baffling, so utterly disconnected from reality, that you couldn't help but wonder, how did this person get here? We've all seen it. The incompetent boss who somehow keeps climbing the corporate ladder. The politician whose policies defy logic, yet they keep winning elections. Think of historical figures like Caligula, who declared war on the sea, or modern executives who drive companies into the ground while rewarding themselves with golden parachutes. It's a pattern so consistent it feels like a rule rather than an exception. But what if it is? What if there's a hidden mechanism that ensures the least qualified often rise to the top? This isn't just about bad luck or poor judgment. It's about something deeper, something Carl Jung understood better than most. Jung spent his life studying the unconscious forces that shape human behavior, and what he uncovered was unsettling. The very traits that make someone unfit for power are often the same ones that propel them into it. The arrogance of the foolish, their lack of self-awareness, their unshakable confidence in their own brilliance. These aren't flaws. They're advantages in a system that rewards perception over substance. But this isn't just ancient psychology. It's happening right now in every boardroom, every government, every institution where power is concentrated. The uncomfortable truth? Intelligence, wisdom, and competence can actually work against you in the race for influence. And if you don't understand why, you'll keep watching in frustration as the wrong people keep winning. Imagine two people. One is thoughtful, cautious, aware of their own limitations. The other is brash, certain of their own genius, utterly blind to their flaws. Who do you think is more likely to seize power? The answer is obvious, and that's the problem. Jung called this phenomenon inflation, when a person's ego expands beyond reality, filling the space with delusions of grandeur. The foolish leader isn't held back by doubt. They don't waste time questioning themselves. They charge forward, convinced of their own rightness, and because they move with such certainty, the world often mistakes their confidence for competence. History is full of examples. Take the rise of demagogues, those charismatic figures who promise easy solutions to complex problems. They don't win because they're right. They win because they're loud, because they simplify chaos into slogans, because they offer the illusion of control in an uncertain world. The smarter, more reflective person hesitates. They see nuance, they weigh consequences, they understand that real leadership requires humility. And in that hesitation, the fool steps in and takes the throne. This isn't just about politics. It's in corporations where the most reckless executives get promoted, while the careful planners are labeled indecisive. It's in social movements where the loudest voices drown out the thoughtful ones. The system isn't broken. It's designed this way. Power doesn't flow to those who deserve it. It flows to those who know how to take it. Jung believed that every person has a shadow, the parts of ourselves we deny, suppress, or ignore. But what happens when an entire society has a shadow? What happens when we refuse to acknowledge the dark forces that shape who rises to the top? The truth is, we don't just allow foolish people to take power. We invite them. Because deep down, we want leaders who reflect our own unspoken desires. The arrogant CEO who cuts corners and boasts about profits? We call him a visionary while ignoring the wreckage left behind. The politician who thrives on chaos? We label him strong because we secretly crave someone who doesn't play by the rules. This is the shadow at work. We claim to value wisdom, but we reward audacity. We say we want integrity, but we elect the person who tells us what we want to hear. Jung warned that until we confront this shadow, until we admit that we are complicit in creating the leaders we claim to despise, we will keep repeating the same cycle. Now let's talk about the opposite problem. Why do the most capable people so often avoid power? If foolishness is an advantage, then intelligence is a liability. The The smartest people in the room are usually the ones who see the traps before they step into them. They understand the cost of leadership, the scrutiny, the compromises, the moral dilemmas. They know that power corrupts, that the system is rigged, that no good deed goes unpunished. And so they hold back. They wait for permission, for validation, for a sign that they're ready. But the fool doesn't wait. The fool doesn't overthink. The fool acts, and in a world that mistakes motion for progress, action always beats wisdom. This creates a cruel paradox. The people best suited to lead are the least likely to pursue it, while the least qualified rush in without hesitation. And the longer this continues, the more our institutions decay from within. So how do we stop this? How do we prevent the wrong people from taking control? Jung's answer was simple but difficult. Consciousness. We have to see the game for what it is. We have to recognize the signs of foolish leadership before it's too late. Here are the red flags. Absolute certainty. The fool never doubts, never questions, never admits error. Simplified solutions. They reduce complex problems to sound bites. Charisma over substance. They're more focused on appearing strong than being competent. Blame shifting. Every failure is someone else's fault. If we learn to spot these traits early, we can resist the pull of the fool's confidence. But it requires vigilance, because the fool will always be louder, bolder, and more seductive than the wise leader. The cycle of foolish leadership isn't inevitable. It persists because we allow it to, because we mistake confidence for competence, charisma for character, and boldness for wisdom. But if we want to break free, we have to confront the uncomfortable truth. Power doesn't corrupt people so much as it reveals who they already were. And more often than not, the people who crave power the most are the ones least equipped to wield it responsibly. So how do we change this? How do we ensure that the right people, those with wisdom, humility, and genuine competence, end up in positions of influence? We like to believe that the best people naturally rise to the top, that talent and hard work are always rewarded. But history, psychology, and even our own lived experiences prove otherwise. The truth is, meritocracy is a comforting illusion. In reality, power structures favor those who know how to manipulate perception, who thrive on attention, who are willing to cut corners and exploit weaknesses. The competent, meanwhile, are often too busy doing the work to play the game. This isn't a call for cynicism, it's a call for awareness. If we want better leaders, we must first recognize that the system isn't neutral. It's tilted toward those who prioritize ambition over integrity. Carl Jung understood that leaders don't rise in a vacuum. They emerge because groups allow them to. The demagogue, the incompetent CEO, the reckless politician, they all depend on one thing: our willingness to follow. Why do we follow them? Because they offer something we crave, certainty in uncertain times. The fool speaks in absolutes, the wise leader speaks in probabilities. The fool promises quick fixes, the wise leader acknowledges complexity. And in moments of fear or frustration, we'd rather have a bad leader who feels strong than a good one who admits weakness. This is the heart of the problem. Until we, as followers, demand better, until we stop confusing confidence with capability, we will keep getting the leaders we deserve. This isn't just about politics or business. It's about every sphere of influence: families, communities, organizations. Wherever power exists, the same dynamics play out. The choice is ours. We can keep falling for the same tricks, or we can demand something better. We can keep mistaking arrogance for strength, or we can start valuing the quieter, deeper qualities that actually sustain societies. Jung's warning was clear. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. And nowhere is this more evident than in our collective refusal to confront why foolish people keep rising to power. But awareness is the first step. The next step is action.